Hey everyone, I'm Matt from Midget HD, and this is my new weekly show, AvGeek NewsWeek, where I present and discuss the latest news, highlights, and exciting topics regarding the current week in aviation. The show will cover aircraft incidents and accidents, orders and deliveries, airline and manufacturer business updates, as well as general aviation news to keep you informed and up to date with what's important in aviation. I will bring you all of the aviation news every Sunday at 12 PM GMT, covering the entire week from Sunday to Saturday. Unfortunately, with my first episode, it is not being released at the scheduled time. However, seeing as there was a lot of important news from the 28th of January through to the 3rd of February, I decided to make a video. This seems like a very good week to start my first episode on, as both Airbus and Boeing have had important and very successful weeks. But I want to start with Boeing and all of Boeing's news. And firstly, regarding the most important piece of news for Boeing, and that is that UPS have ordered 14 more 747-8 freighters, as well as 4 new 767 freighters that will provide extra capacity in response to accelerating demand for the company's air services. And this was announced on the 1st of February, and that comes on UPS Airlines' 30th anniversary, so not just a good day for Boeing, but an important and very good day for UPS, celebrating their 30th anniversary with a big order. This comes off the back of a 2016 order of 14 747-8 freighters, of which 3 of those have already been delivered. But out of the 32 jets, including those 767s, they're expected to be delivered by the end of 2022, adding more than 9 million pounds of cargo capacity. UPS Chairman and CEO David Abney responded to this order by saying, to support the strong customer demand, we continue to invest in additional air capacity, providing the critical link our customers need to markets around the world. This also comes after recent US tax reform legislation enabling UPS to utilize tax savings to significantly increase capital investments and to make them earlier than previously planned. Some of the important and well-known facts about the 747-8 freighter is that it carries 46 shipping containers. 34 of those are on its main deck and 12 in its lower compartments. The Dash 8 has a cargo capacity of 307,600 pounds, or approximately 30,000 packages, and a range of 4,200 nautical miles. Now, will this order actually save the 747? Initially, yes, but after this order is completed, the 747 line is expected to shut down, because it wasn't expected to go beyond 2018 at the latest. So this is really a stretch for Boeing, but it is keeping the 747 line open for much longer. The Bell-Boeing Joint Program Office has been awarded almost $70 million from a previously awarded contract to modify 3 existing MV-22 Ospreys in support of the V-22 Common Configuration Readiness and Modernization Program, or for short, the CC-RAM. The CC-RAM program is said to be the cornerstone for the MV-22 long-term sustainment and affordability. The majority of the modification will be completed at Boeing's Philadelphia facility, and the remainder will be completed at the Bell facility in Fort Worth, Texas. The first MV-22 to be modified arrived at Boeing's Philadelphia facility the week before last, and the 2 additional aircraft will arrive within the next year. If you're unsure what an Osprey looks like or what its purpose is, well, first off, there are pictures on screen which I took from my hotel room in Honolulu, Hawaii in 2016. And the Osprey is described as being a joint service multi-role combat aircraft that uses tilt rotor technology to combine the vertical performance of a helicopter with the speed and range of a fixed wing aircraft. With its nacelles and rotors in vertical position, it can take off, land, and hover like a helicopter. Once airborne, its nacelles can be rotated to transition the aircraft to a turboprop airplane capable of high-speed, high-altitude flight. Now onto some Airbus news. The A350-1000 begins its demonstration tour in the Middle East, Asia, and Oceania. As you may know, the A350-1000 is the latest A350 and Airbus wide-body aircraft to take flight. It recently embarked on a 3-week demonstration tour to the Middle East and the Asia-Pacific region. The A350-1000 gained both EASA and FAA type certifications, after which was described as a highly successful flight test campaign which lasted less than 1 year. The aircraft, registered FWLXV with the construction number MSN065, will visit 12 destinations to demonstrate the aircraft's exclusive features to airlines. It is going to travel over an estimated 30,000 nautical miles, which is 55,500 kilometers, stopping in Doha, where launch customer Qatar Airways is based, Muscat, Hong Kong, Seoul, Taipei, Hanoi, Singapore, Bangkok, Sydney, Auckland, where I'll be plane spotting the aircraft from, Tokyo and Manila before it heads back to Toulouse respectively. The aircraft is intended to stop for many days in Singapore, where it is on static display from the 6th to the 8th of February at the Singapore Air Show. The Air Show is a perfect place to present a fully decked out A350-1000, as it has a fully functional cabin with 40 business class seats, 36 economy plus class seats, and 219 comfort economy class seats. Some additional information about the A350-1000: it shares a 95% common systems part numbers and the same type rating as the A350-900. This A350 is the first Airbus aircraft that has double main landing gears with a triple bogie system, just like on the 777. Sticking with the features of the A350, and this is probably the only piece of news in this episode that will end up being from this current week. It was announced on the 6th of February 2018 at the Singapore Air Show. Airbus is developing larger winglets for the A350. Previous reports for the A350 show plans that Airbus was going to bring a package of incremental developments in 2020. However, the development has been much quicker, and Airbus expects to have some A350s out with these new larger winglets by the end of 2018. These winglets will increase the effective wingspan, but from wingtip to wingtip, the distance will not change. It is just under 65 meters, which is 212 feet. Airbus seems to be ramping up the statistics regarding the A350's range, with the A350-900 ultra long range, which was announced a while ago, and these winglets only will add to that range because they will help increase the fuel efficiency of the aircraft over long distances. The A321neo LR successfully completes its maiden flight. The first A321neo LR, registered DAVZO with the construction number MSN7877, completed its maiden flight, which lasted 2 hours and 36 minutes. The aircraft took off from Hamburg, Germany at 11:06 AM local time, commencing its test program. This aircraft will set a new standard and push the boundaries of what is capable for a narrow-body aircraft in terms of its range. Following its maiden flight, the A321neo LR is now set to undergo its 100-hour test flight program, including transatlantic missions for EASA and FAA type certification in the second quarter of 2018. Airbus expects entry into service by the end of this year. A few of the features that differ between the A321neo LR and the non-LR version is that the LR features a new door configuration. This enables operators to accommodate up to 240 passengers, which is a massive number. This, alongside Airbus's new airspace interior, will truly provide a great passenger experience. The maximum takeoff weight has had a slight increase to 97 tons, and it has a third additional center fuel tank. For a narrow body, it can travel quite a distance, up to 4,000 nautical miles, that is 500 nautical miles further than the non-LR A321neo. There are two engine options available for the A321neo. They are the Pratt & Whitney PW1100G and the CFM International LEAP 1A. Now, CFM International, if you didn't know already, they are a joint venture between the former Snecma Group, which is now Safran Aero Engines, and General Electric. Because this particular A321neo LR is powered by LEAP 1A engines, I'm just going to go through the engine statistics. Now, there are three versions of the LEAP 1As. There is the 1A26, 1A32 and 1A33. The 1A26 has the lowest takeoff thrust and maximum continuous thrust with 120 kilonewtons and 118 kilonewtons respectively, whereas the 1A32 and 1A33 have the same takeoff thrust and maximum continuous thrust with 143 kilonewtons and 140 kilonewtons respectively. Also featured is an 11:1 bypass ratio. The architecture of this engine from front to rear is as follows: 1 fan, 1 planetary reduction gearbox, 3 low pressure compressor stages, 10 high pressure compressor stages, 7 high pressure turbine stages, and 2 low pressure turbine stages. The A321neo range has racked up over 1900 orders from over 50 customers, and according to Airbus, the A321neo has captured a solid 80% market share, making it the aircraft of choice in the middle of the market. After a week's worth of rumours circulating, Lufthansa's new livery has now been revealed. This CGI of the new livery on Lufthansa 747-8 was included with the official announcement last week that Lufthansa boasts is a visible sign of Lufthansa's modernisation. The 7 concepts on screen now were the liveries rumoured about a week beforehand, and as you can see, the bottom one is the one that closely resembles the new livery. Slight differences are the title size and also the extension beneath the tail of the blue. It extends too far forward. It should be almost in line with the tail, if not in line with the tail. Apart from the size of the titles, one thing that is incorrect with these concepts is the logo size. As you can see, the logos have been cut off on the tails, whereas on the new livery, the logos fit on the tails. Although the announcement of this new livery was last week, the official reveal of this livery was on the 7th of February, with one event held in Munich and one held in Frankfurt. This change of livery has very much divided people's opinions. A lot of people, like myself, really liked the yellow logo, grey belly, and it all worked quite well. It was very much a European white aircraft, but it was still a bit different from the rest. The differences between the liveries: first off, the tail colour, the blue, has been draped onto the fuselage following the line of the tail, and as I stated before, the other differences are the yellow logo has now been changed to white and there is no more grey belly. The crane, which highly distinguishes Lufthansa from the rest, has really become an iconic symbol for them, especially since it is now 100 years old. Lufthansa have really focused this new livery around the crane itself and the design and what it represents, and from Lufthansa themselves they have said a thinner ring makes the crane look more elegant, bringing it into the foreground and granting it more space. All in all, the trademark will gain lightness and elegance. The familiar blue-yellow colour combination of Lufthansa will also be retained, but the use of these primary colours will be redefined. The blue specially developed for Lufthansa is somewhat darker. Continuing on, they say it's more elegant and is becoming the leading brand colour. It stands for reliability, clarity and value. Along with this revised livery, which replaces their previous 30-year-old livery, Lufthansa will be modernising their crew uniforms, and new accessories on this uniform will often be yellow, so they're keeping with some of their traditions. They've also planned to make on-board articles such as tableware, amenity kits, blankets or pillowcases will carry the new design in the future. They expect 160 million items to be exchanged over the next 2 years to the new design. A good decision by Lufthansa, and also one that's very plane spotter focused, is on the 8th of February Lufthansa flew their only 747-8 and their only A321 that are painted in the new liveries to tour around Germany and Europe. The 747-8 registered DABYA took off from Frankfurt with the flight number LH9988 at 8:30 am. It stopped at Cologne, Dusseldorf, Bremen, Hamburg, Hanover, Berlin, Dresden, Munich and Stuttgart before arriving back in Frankfurt. These stopovers didn't necessarily mean that the aircraft would land. However, it made several low passes flying over Cologne, Bremen, Hanover, Dresden and Stuttgart. The only time this aircraft touched the ground was of course the takeoff from Frankfurt, Dusseldorf, Hamburg, Berlin, Munich and arriving back at Frankfurt. The A321 registered DAISP on the other hand started its day off in Munich, did a return trip to Milan Malpensa, then did another return trip, this time to Paris Charles de Gaulle, and then after arriving back in Munich, its last flight was to Frankfurt, where it ended its journey for the day. The Bombardier Global 7000, the largest successor to the Global 6000, also dubbed the Masterpiece, completed its first flight, setting the stage for the program's entry into service in the second half of 2018. The aircraft CGLBG, with the construction number FTV5, joined the other 4 test vehicles in the test program. They demonstrated significant maturity, reliability, and smooth ride as they undergo extensive flight and ground tests. As quoted from Bombardier's vice president, with over 1,300 hours of rigorous flight testing completed, the results speak to the aircraft's maturity, reliability, and strong performance. In addition to flight testing, we continue to successfully progress our ground test system and have now met the full airframe fatigue test milestone as required by authorities for entry into service. We will continue to advance the Global 7000 test program to ensure the aircraft meets or exceeds the highest level of safety. The Global 7000 has some very interesting specifications. It is powered by the General Electric Passport engine, which provides 16,500 pound force of thrust, which is also 73 kilonewtons. It can carry up to 19 passengers with a range of 7,400 nautical miles, and it has a maximum operating altitude of 51,000 feet. Virgin Atlantic seeks out A330s amid shortage of Rolls-Royce Trent 1000 engines for the 787. Due to issues regarding Rolls-Royce Trent 1000 engines over the last few months, Virgin Atlantic will lease 4 A330s until they can receive engines for their 2 out-of-service 787s due to some earlier than expected maintenance. This was on the back of wear-out issues regarding the Trent 1000 engines, and Rolls-Royce themselves have taken all responsibility for the blade cracking problems, but the airframer remains involved, so Boeing is not entirely out of this situation. Rolls-Royce is designing a new intermediate pressure compressor blade for the Trent 1000 engines in the Package C configuration. The intermediate pressure compressor blades come under scrutiny some 15 months after an engine failure on a Scoot 787-9. Also, you might have heard that recently 2 Air New Zealand 787s suffered fate one night after the other, both with similar engine problems regarding those blades and cracking. With the 10 series Trent 1000 engines that entered service in 2017, Rolls-Royce does not expect the same problems to occur, although the engines may require maintenance earlier than Rolls-Royce had outlined. The first A330-200 registered GVMNK will enter service in March. That will be named Daydream Believer. Next up will be Scarlett O'Hara GVWND. After that will be Honky Tonk Woman GVMIIK. And last will be Strawberry Fields GVLNM in the Northern Spring. Virgin Atlantic have outlined that these aircraft will be initially used from Manchester to New York, Boston, San Francisco and Barbados. As these are former Air Berlin aircraft, they are configured with 287 seats, 19 flatbed seats in upper class, 46 economy seats with extra legroom, and 222 economy seats. Virgin Atlantic intends to fit premium economy seats towards the end of 2018. Royal Australian Air Force EA-18G damaged by blaze at Nellis Air Force Base. 2 days before the Red Flag 18-1 exercise was supposed to commence on the 29th of January local time at Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada, a Royal Australian Air Force Boeing EA-18G Growler registered A46311 from the No. 6 Squadron was involved in an incident where its starboard engine caught fire. The aircraft was performing its takeoff roll pre-Red Flag exercise when a fire broke out on the General Electric F414 GE400. As a result, the takeoff was aborted as the aircraft skidded off the runway. The pilots were able to climb out of the cockpit without ejecting and without injury. The incident resulted in a badly damaged empennage as well as the ALQ-99 electronic warfare jamming pods located beneath each wing. It's still unknown if this aircraft is able to be repaired, but looking at the chart, it's still standing in one-piece aircraft it seems very unlikely. Throughout 2016 until mid-2017, the Royal Australian Air Force had all 12 of the EA-18G Growler orders fulfilled, and based at Royal Australian Air Force Base Amberley with 4 flown to Nellis for Red Flag, however only 3 were able to perform. If the need arises to having 12 Growlers again, they can simply modify a newer FA-18F to the EA-18G configuration, as a second order by the Royal Australian Air Force included the new Super Hornets to have the same wiring installed in the Growler's configuration, so there won't be any need to pay another $70 million for another. The Royal Australian Air Force operates 107 aircraft from the F-18 family, with 71 FA-18A and FA-18B and 24 FA-18Fs. TUI Group and Oman Air each celebrate their first 737 MAX deliveries. TUI Group, who had 70 Boeing 737 MAXs, had the first of theirs, a 737 MAX 8, delivered on the 29th of January, named Tenerife Alegria, and registered OOMAX. The remaining 737 MAX order consists of 51 737 MAX 8s and 18 of the larger 737 MAX 10s. The 737 MAX is a great fit for TUI Group, with 14% lower carbon emissions and a 40% smaller noise footprint, supporting its airline's commitment to sustainability, said Monty Oliver, the Vice President of European Sales of Boeing Commercial Airplanes. He was honoured by TUI Group's continued confidence in their products and looked forward to the many MAX deliveries that lie ahead. Oman Air, on the other hand, has a much smaller order than TUI, with 20 Boeing 737 MAX 8s ordered directly from Boeing and 10 others on a confirmed lease agreement. Their first 737 MAX was delivered on the 31st of January, registered A40MA. This more than doubles their 737 fleet to 57 jets, along with the 7 787 Dreamliners they currently operate. As quoted from Boeing's website, Oman Air's commitment to enhancing the in-flight experience will be evident in both its business and economy classes on board the 737 MAX. The 12 new specially designed business class seats will be electrically controlled, offering passengers more privacy with enhanced trim and finishes, whilst the 150 seats in economy will also feature a refreshed interior. While the business class will offer 17-inch Thales Gen V touchscreen Avante monitor, economy will have a similar 10.2-inch monitor. In addition, there will be a high-powered USB port for each passenger regardless of class. The 737 MAX family exclusively features the CFMI LEAP 1B power plant, which provides a takeoff thrust of 130.4 kilonewtons or 29,320 pound force, and a maximum continuous thrust of 127.6 kilonewtons or 28,690 pound force. The bypass ratio is 9:1, lower than that of the LEAP 1A powering A320neo family, which is 11:1. The engine architecture of the LEAP 1B from front to rear is as follows: 1 fan, 1 planetary reduction gearbox, 3 low pressure compressor stages, 10 high pressure compressor stages, 2 high pressure turbine stages, and 5 low pressure turbine stages. Let's finish up this first episode by going through some new route announcements. Links to all of these new routes containing additional information are linked in the description. And I do apologize if I pronounce any of these place names incorrectly. El Al Israel Airlines filed a preliminary operational schedule from Tel Aviv to San Francisco, commencing on the 2nd of December, utilizing the Boeing 787-9 3 times a week. Salam Air, an Omani low-cost carrier, announced Muscat to Shiraz, commencing on the 2nd of March, utilizing the A320 twice a week. Air Pristina announced 3 new routes operating out of Pristina in Kosovo to Copenhagen, commencing on the 23rd of March once weekly, Milan Bergamo commencing the 25th of March once weekly, and Paris Charles de Gaulle commencing on the 28th of March twice weekly. These flights will be operated utilizing Germania's aircraft. Ethiopian Airlines schedules Addis Ababa to Chicago O'Hare via Dublin, commencing on the 2nd of June utilizing the Boeing 787-8 3 times a week. The return leg, however, will fly directly from Chicago to Addis Ababa. Air Astana schedules Atyrau to Frankfurt commencing on the 26th of March, utilising the Airbus A321 twice a week. Sichuan Airlines filed operational schedule extending the current Chengdu to Prague route to fly Chengdu to Zurich via Prague. The route will see continued use of the Airbus A330-300 3 times a week. EasyJet announced new northern summer routes exclusively operating from Berlin-Tegel Airport. The destinations are Alicante, Ancona, Belgrade, Biarritz, Brindisi, Cagliari, Cologne, Corfu, Faro, Genoa, Gothenburg, Granada, Graz, Jerez de la Frontera, Kefalonia, Ljubljana, Mahon, Montpellier, Naples, Nice, Oslo, Pula, and Venice. The new routes will commence between the end of the second quarter of 2018 and the end of the third quarter of 2018. If you want specific dates for those routes, please check out the link in the description. Ural Airlines filed operational schedule for the northern summer from Moscow Zhukovsky to Shanghai Pudong via Novosibirsk, commencing the 4th of July, utilizing the Airbus A321 twice a week. Emirates announced Santiago as part of the South American expansion. This route will operate from Dubai to Santiago via Sao Paulo Guarulhos, utilizing the new 2-class 777-200 LR 5 times weekly. This effectively increases Dubai-Sao Paulo traffic to 12 weekly flights. Emirates do not have the traffic rights for the Sao Paulo to Santiago service, meaning they cannot pick up new passengers on that sector. Croatia Airlines announced Dubrovnik to Munich, utilizing the Airbus A319 and A320 5 times a week, operating between the 30th of April and the 14th of October. LOT Polish Airlines announced Warsaw to Moscow Domodedowo commencing on the 3rd of June, utilizing the Embraer E175 and E195 6 times a week. And last but not least, Hainan Airlines filed operational schedule from Beijing capital to Mexico City via Tijuana, commencing on the 21st of March, utilizing the Boeing 787-8 3 times a week. Thank you to everyone who watched my first episode of AvGeek NewsWeek. I do hope you enjoyed. I greatly appreciate those who watched the entire video, who liked all the information. If you'd like to see this every week, please let me know. The second episode is also due late because of the fact that this first episode took longer than expected. Also, if you have any ideas for discussion topics you wish for me to talk about, please let me know in the description. This is another thing I am thinking about getting involved in, and I would really love to know your opinion. Again, thank you to everyone who watched and listened to this episode, and I'll see you next time.